You know these people. You've met these people. You know exactly who we're talking about. The problem is, they don't. The guy who treats cornhole like a professional sport. The guy who takes control of the music. The guy who becomes a chef the moment he sees a grill. The guy who says goodbye but never leaves. And the guy who suddenly becomes a fireworks expert. In a few days, they'll all be explaining themselves. They always do. The July 5th Hall of Shame is now in session. Our first inductee brought his own bags. Not because the bags were better, because everyone needed to know he brought his own bags. At first, he explained the rules. Then he corrected the rules. Then he began enforcing the rules. At some point, a grown man in flip-flops requested an official ruling on whether another grown man's foot had crossed an imaginary line during a backyard game. Witnesses described the incident as completely unnecessary. The game continued. Unfortunately, so did he. A short time later, he requested a rematch. Then he explained why the previous result raised serious questions. Questions nobody else had. At no point was prize money involved. The winner received absolutely nothing. By sunset, he was discussing strategy. By nighttime, he was discussing legacy. And by July 5th, he was still explaining why the loss shouldn't count. After reviewing the evidence, the committee has reached a decision. Inductee number 5. The Competitive Cornhole Guy. Charge: misrepresentation of recreational activity. Additional charge: failure to recognize a casual gathering. Evidence: 3 rule disputes, 2 rematches, 1 backyard game. Sentence: reassigned to beanbag retrieval duties until further notice. Regrettably, he was not alone. Our next inductee assumed control of the speaker before the first hamburger hit the grill. Nobody remembers voting on it. Nobody remembers discussing it. Yet somehow the music was now under new management. At first, people were willing to give him a chance. Then he changed the song. Then he changed it again. Then he changed it before anybody could figure out what song it was. Several witnesses reported hearing the first 15 seconds of approximately 147 different songs. At no point was a complete song heard. Requests were accepted, then immediately ignored. One witness asked for a specific song and was told, "Trust me." Nobody felt better after hearing that. Every song was somebody's favorite. None of them got to hear it. By sunset, he was no longer playing music. He was curating an experience. Unfortunately, nobody knew what the experience was. After reviewing the evidence, the committee has reached a decision. Inductee number 4. The designated DJ charge. Operating as an unlicensed DJ. Additional charge. Unauthorized playlist management. Evidence: 1 speaker. 147 songs. 0 songs completed. Sentence: Bluetooth privileges revoked for 30 days. The committee's work was unfortunately just beginning. Our next inductee claimed the grill before anyone else had a chance. Not because he was hungry, because he considered himself qualified. From that moment forward, lunch was no longer a meal. It was a craft. Offers of help were rejected immediately. Suggestions were treated as personal insults. Throughout the afternoon, he provided regular updates on the condition of the burgers. The burgers were almost done. Then they were almost done again. Then they entered what he described as the final stage. Witnesses later confirmed there were several final stages. At some point, he stopped cooking and started performing. Every burger flip became a demonstration. Every opinion became a lecture. Several people brought food. He accepted personal responsibility for all of it. When a visibly burned hamburger was discovered, he calmly explained that it was not burned, it was blackened. Nobody knew what that meant. Nobody challenged him. By the end of the day, he had transformed a cookout into a master class nobody signed up for. After reviewing the evidence, the committee has reached a decision. Inductee number 3, the self-appointed grill master. Charge: impersonating a professional chef. Evidence: 8 hours, 20 burgers reclassified as blackened, 0 assistance accepted. Sentence: reassigned to paper plate distribution until further notice. By this point, the evidence was becoming difficult to ignore. Our next inductee said goodbye around 9:30. At least that's what witnesses believed at the time. Unfortunately, the investigation revealed that this was only the beginning. After saying goodbye, he started another story. Then another, then a third story that somehow began with a fishing trip and ended with real estate. Several attempts were made to end the conversation. None were successful. As the evening continued, he developed a remarkable ability to intercept people on their way home. Witnesses reported being stopped in driveways, near vehicles, beside vehicles, and in one case while actively sitting inside a vehicle. Every story reminded him of one of his own. Every experience had happened to him before, usually bigger, usually better, usually for longer. Every conversation became a competition. Unfortunately, nobody else knew they were competing. By this point, the host had started cleaning. Chairs were being folded, coolers were being packed. The party was clearly over. He viewed this as an opportunity to begin a new conversation. After reviewing the evidence, the committee has reached a decision. Inductee number 2, the guy who wouldn't leave. Charge: unauthorized extended stay. Additional charge: making everything about himself. Evidence: 4 goodbyes, 7 personal stories. 1 exhausted host. Sentence: conversation privileges suspended after 10 p.m. The committee saved its most serious case for last. Our final inductee purchased the fireworks less than 24 hours ago. By sunset, he considered himself an expert. The transformation was both immediate and complete. At first, he offered opinions. Then he offered advice. Shortly thereafter, he began providing instructions. Witnesses reported hearing terms such as trajectory, launch angle, and controlled ignition. None of the witnesses believed he knew what those terms meant. At some point, he stopped reading the instructions. This was primarily because he had never started. Instead, he developed what he repeatedly described as a system. No drawings of the system were ever recovered. No documentation existed. The system appeared to live entirely inside his head. As the night continued, his confidence increased dramatically. Investigators found no evidence that his qualifications increased with it. The investigation found no connection between confidence and competence. Several attendees reported being instructed to stand back. Most had already reached the same conclusion independently. The committee believes the phrase, "watch this," should have been treated as a warning. After reviewing the evidence, the committee has reached a decision. Inductee number 1, the fireworks expert. Charge: improper use of confidence. Evidence: no qualifications, no hesitation. 1. Watch this. Sentence: restricted to sparklers through Labor Day. In the coming days, there will be explanations. There always are. There will be excuses. There always are. And there will be stories that begin with, "That's not what happened." The committee has heard them before.
If you find yourself explaining a fireworks incident, requesting a cornhole ruling, taking control of the speaker, rejecting help at the grill, or turning a goodbye into a 45-minute conversation, the committee has some difficult news. You may already be under investigation. Until next time, common sense is still free. One idiot at a time.